Hey, I'm Liv, welcome back to my channel Endless Pages, and welcome to today's video, which is my goals for 2025. Hello, hope you've been well. Welcome to my 2025 reading goals video. Yeah, this time I've done it a little bit differently. I didn't really make reading goals before I had a YouTube channel, and I just started making them because I really enjoyed watching people's reading goal videos and I wanted to make my own. But I think I've done it 2 times and I never stick to anything. I never stick to the goals. I never think about it again. I just feel like I'm putting it out just for the sake of putting out content. So I've thought about it a little bit differently this year, and I'm happier with my goals this year because I feel like the goals are more for me rather than just for the sake of content and thinking of goals to put in a video. So I'm a lot happier with how my goals look this year. So there's not heaps, so this is not going to be a very long video, but I'm happy with it, and honestly that's what matters because it's my reading at the end of the day, and I shouldn't be just saying stuff for the sake of having goals for a video. So first goal is book count. This is the one I genuinely do stick to. So in 2024 my book count was 50 books that I wanted to read. As of filming this on December, what's the date? 22nd I think. I'm on 47, so I think I'll just make it in there. But I've had a lot of big slumps this year, and I think if I had a couple less slumps I probably would have gone over 50. So next year I want to make my book count goal 60. It's only 10 more books than I read this year, which is not a lot. I have really gotten way more into audiobooks this year. This has been a year where I've just been like, okay, I get the hype now, audiobooks all the way. So I feel like I didn't turn my sound off on my phone, so I feel like next year, knowing that I am loving audiobooks more, 60 is definitely achievable. It's not crazy high that I'm just making a high number to make it sound good that I'm reading a lot, but it's not unrealistic, and it's high enough that I will know that reading will be a priority and something that I make a priority in 2025. So I'm really happy with that number. 60, that's a nice good number. In previous years, like back in before I had my channel, back in like 2022, no, I had a channel then, maybe back before 2020, I was reaching like 65 a year. So definitely achievable for me. Next goal is my series. So I think last year I said I want to read like 2 books like from a series every month, which was such an unrealistic goal. Like, when was I ever going to do that? It just wasn't going to happen, and it didn't happen for like 90% of the year. But then towards the end of the year I genuinely made a great effort in focusing on that goal because I realized I hadn't done it all year, and I just got sick of like having so many unfinished series. So it's definitely been a real focus at the end of 2024, and I want to keep that momentum going for 2025. So I've been doing a lot of rereading so I can continue on with series. So instead of 2 books from a series a month, which I think is unrealistic, probably not for a lot of people, but it is for me, I'm going to say 1 series a month. So it's got to be 1 sequel a month, which is totally realistic for me, and I'm counting if I reread a book to continue on with the series, if that makes sense. So for example, in October I reread Dark Rise, so then in November I could continue on to Dark Air. So that reread of Dark Rise would count as my 1 series continuation for the month, because I'm making an effort to continue on with the series because it's been so long. Because it was so long ago that I read the first book in these series, I don't feel like I can fully appreciate the rest of the books because I would have forgotten half the context, half the important scenes and important moments in the book. So I really do need to, for majority of these series, start again and then continue on. So if I do a reread, for example, the Poppy War series, I've read book 1 and book 2, but I haven't read the 3rd and final book. So if I read the Poppy War again, that will count for my series continuation goal for the month. Let's get a little bit more specific with my reading goals. Each year I say I want to read more diversely. I think one year I put in a bingo board, and the first year I just said I want to read more diversely. I have not made a solid effort to follow through with this. And I feel like diversity is not at the forefront of my mind while I'm picking my books and picking my reads, and that's something that genuinely needs to change. So how can I make this happen, and how can I do this in a realistic goal for myself? So my bookish friend Tracy came up with this amazing challenge called the Read the World Challenge on Storygraph. I will tag her Instagram and I will tag the challenge because I encourage you guys to join it. It's really fun and what I think is a really achievable challenge. So the Read the World Challenge is basically to read 2 books from every continent. Really simple, really easy to achieve, and this was really, really fun to plan out. My bookish friends helped me a lot with this, so thank you for helping me make this really good. And I have some really interesting books on here that I am going to talk you through. First continent is Asia. We have a Malaysian author up first, and that is Su Lin Tan, the author of Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Its cover is beautiful. I believe this is about a girl who lives on the moon, but she was unaware that she was being hidden from the Celestial Empire, who exiled her mother for stealing the elixir of immortality. But when her magic flares and her existence is discovered, she is forced to flee her home, leaving her mother behind. Alone, powerless and afraid, she makes her way across the celestial kingdom. In disguise, she trains alongside the Emperor's son, mastering archery, magic, blah blah blah, despite the passion which flames between them. Then she has to rescue her mother, embark on a quest, confronting legendary creatures and vicious enemies, but when forbidden magic threatens the kingdom, she must challenge the ruthless emperor, leaving her torn between losing all she loves or plunging the realm into chaos. So this is inspired by the legend of Chang'e's the Moon Goddess. This captivating debut weaves Chinese mythology into a sweeping adventure of love and family, immortals and magic. Next up we have a Japanese author, that is Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and their book is obviously Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I do have a physical book of this. I have no idea where it's vanished to. It's around here somewhere. Spent 10 minutes trying to find it, now I'm all hot and sweaty, but whatever. This is about this cafe in Tokyo where you can go and travel back in time, but you have to be back before your coffee gets cold. And I think it's a bunch of different people and their stories, and they all have a bunch of regrets about their past. Apparently it's moving, beautiful. I know that there's a whole series of them now, and yep, I need to read this. Next continent is Africa. The first country, we have a Nigerian author, Toby Ogunjuran. This is In the Shadow of a Fall, the first book in a fantasy duology. It's like a fantasy novella. This was a recent purchase of mine, actually. I just saw the cover and I was like, stunning. So this is inspired by Yoruba mythology, which is West African mythology, I believe I saw in someone's review. So we have an untried acolyte desperate to speak with the Orisha she worships, accidentally reignites a cosmic war. The fate of her gods and her world now lies in her experienced hands. She is an acolyte in the temple of Ifa, yearning for the day she is made a priest and sent out into the world to serve the Orisha. But all of the order's acolytes, she is the only one the Orisha refuse to speak to. For years she's watched from the sidelines as peer after peer passes her by and ascends to full priesthood. She's desperate and attempts to summon and trap an Orisha. Instead, she experiences a vision so terrible it draws the attention of a powerful enemy sect and thrusts her into the center of a centuries-old war that will shatter the very foundations of her world. Next up, we have the country of Ghana. For that, we have author Roseanne A. Brown and her book, A Song of Wraith and Ruin, which has been on my TBR for a very long time. So, this is about Malik, and for Malik, the Solstice Festival is a chance to escape his war-stricken home and start a new life with his sisters in the prosperous desert city of Zoran. But when a vegetable spirit abducts his younger sister, Nadia, as payment to enter the city, Malik strikes a fatal deal, kill Karina, Crown Prince of Zoran, in exchange for Nadia's freedom. But Karina has deadly aspirations of her own. Her mother, the Sultana, has been assassinated, her court threatens mutiny, and the Solstice looms like a knife over her neck. Grief-stricken, she decides to resurrect her mother through ancient magic, requiring the beating heart of a king, and she knows just how to attain one, by offering a hand in marriage to the victor of the Solstice competition. When Malik rigs his way into the contest, he and Karina are set on a heart-pounding course to destroy each other. But as attraction flares between them and ancient evil stirs, will they be able to seek their tasks to the death? This sounds like enemies to lovers. I see why I purchased this. Moving on to the continent of Europe, we have the first country, France. French author Christelle Dabos. The first book in the Mirror Visitor Quartet, A Winter's Promise. So, this is about Ophelia. She's a misfit and a misunderstood genius. She possesses 2 special gifts, the ability to read pasts of objects and to travel through mirrors. Her peaceful existence on the Ark of Venema is interrupted when she is promised into marriage to Thorn, a member of a powerful clan from a distant Ark, the Cold and Icy Pole. Ophelia must follow her fiancé to the floating city of, I can't pronounce that, where nobody can't be trusted. I should have read this beforehand. In the company of her inscrutable future husband, Ophelia realizes she is a pawn in a plot that will have consequences not only for her but for her entire world. Next up, we have the country of Portugal. We have a Portuguese author, Patricia Marques. This is The Colours of Death. This is like a fantasy thriller, kind of, first book in a series. We have a high-profile man who appears to have died by throwing himself repeatedly against glass, but according to witnesses he may not have done this on his own. Set in Lisbon 2021, a small percentage of the population are diagnosed as gifted. Along with the power comes stigma and suspicion. We have gifted Inspector Isabel Rice is hiding her own secrets while putting her life on the line to stop an ingenious killer. Next continent, we have North America. We have the country of the US Virgin Islands, and we have Cadwell Turnbull, who is from there, and their book, The Lesson. This is like a science fiction-y book about aliens. I know this was definitely recommended by Erin. So I think it's like a book that uses aliens to deal with the impact of colonialism and how far we are willing to go for progress. So it's breaking ground as one of the first science fiction novels set in the Virgin Islands. It's not only a thought-provoking literary work delving deep into an allegorical theme of colonialism, but also vividly draws the community of Charlotte Amelie, where the author hails from. So this is an alien ship that rests over Water Island. For 5 years, the people of the US Virgin Islands have lived with the race of super advanced aliens on a research mission they will not fully disclose. They are benevolent in many ways, but meet any act of aggression with disproportionate wrath. This had led to a strained relationship between the aliens and the local Virgin Islanders, and a peace that cannot last. A year after the death of a young boy at the hands of one of the aliens, 3 families find themselves at the center of an inevitable conflict, witness and victim to the events that will touch everyone and teach a terrible lesson. I'm a bit intimidated by this one, but I'm intrigued. As soon as Erin said aliens, I said I'm in. Next country, we have Mexico, and an author hailing from Mexico is Isabel Canas, and we have her book Vampires of El Norte. I am kind of nervous about this one because it's a historical fiction, not my kind of thing, but then at the same time it's a vampire book, so I think I've got a chance of enjoying this one. This is about the daughter of a rancher in 1840s Mexico. She has been long threatened by tensions with Anglo settlers from the north, but something more sinister lurks near the ranch at night, something that drains men of their blood and leaves them for dead. Something that once attacked her 9 years ago. So we also have Nestor, who believes our main character is dead and has been on the run from his grief ever since, moving from ranch to ranch working. But no amount of drink can dispel the night terrors of sharp teeth. No woman can erase his childhood sweetheart from his mind. When the United States attacks Mexico in 1846, the two are brought abruptly together on the road to war. And there's some tension, which is quickly overshadowed, I'm paraphrasing, quickly overshadowed by the appearance of a nightmare made flesh. So I think it's about them trying to survive not being murdered by vampires. Now we have South and Central America. The first country is Chile. We have author Alia Trabuco Zoran, who wrote the book Clean, which is like a literary horror. I think this is also an Erin recommendation. She wrote most of my list for me, I feel like, so thank you again, Erin. Yeah, this is like a literary fiction horror thriller. The literary fiction part terrifies me, but the thriller mystery horror part has me intrigued. I believe this is about a young girl who dies, and then the family's maid has to tell the story, and she's basically being interrogated about how this young girl died. This housemaid was their maid for 7 years. She kept their secret. She heard all their arguments. She witnessed a lot in those 7 years as the maid to this family. She saw the looks the senior gave the senora. She knew about the poisons in the cabinet, the gun, the daughter's rebellion as she grew up, the mother's coldness, the father's distance. She saw it all. So after a series of shocking betrayals and revelations, Stella, the maid, stopped speaking, breaking her silence only now to tell the story of how it all fell apart. Is this story a story of revenge or confession, a class warfare or a cautionary tale? Building tension with every page, Clean is a gripping, incisive exploration of power, domesticity, and betrayal from an international star at the height of her power. Next up, we have the country of Argentina, and for that we have the author Mariana Enriquez. And this is a horror, so historical fiction, which again has me a bit scared. But this is about a young father and son set out on a road trip, devastated by the death of his wife. They're kind of united in grief. The pair travel to her ancestral home where they must confront the terrifying legacy she's bequeathed, a family called the Order that commits unspeakable acts in the search of immortality. For the son, this maniacal cult is his destiny as the Order tries to pull him into their evil. He and his father take flight, attempting to outrun a powerful clan that will do anything to assure its own survival. But how far will his father go to protect the child, and can anyone escape their fate? So this moves back and forth in time from London in the swinging 1960s to the brutal years of Argentina's military dictatorship and its turbulent aftermath. The last two books I will go through so quickly because I've read a lot of blurbs and this is probably getting really long. But we've made it to the last continent, Oceania, the first country Pacific island of Guam. The author is Maki Luciari, and I will be reading her book Dragonfruit, which is just stunning. This is a young adult standalone fantasy book about dragons and a quest to find the elusive dragon fruit. And then we have our last country, which is New Zealand. Our author Sasha Stronach is a Maori, and I'm going to read her book, which is The Dawn Hounds, the first book in the End Song series, which is a fantasy science fiction and a world where there is a biotech revolution, a police officer is murdered and brought back to life with a new mysterious power and tasked with protecting her city from an insidious evil threatening to destroy it. That is everything I'm planning on reading for the Read the World Challenge. Thank you, Tracy, for involving us all in this and sharing this round. It's such a great, easy way, I think, to diversify your reading in 2025. So that is the goal. Let's quickly talk through the other goals. There is really not much else in terms of reading challenges. I'm not doing a 12 and 12 this year because I never follow them, and what's the point in getting people to recommend me books if I'm not going to read them? So no 12 and 12 this year, no 25 and 25 this year either. I don't stick to them. What's the point? However, what I do want to do is Bookemon. This is the most amazing readathon created by Merv from Bin Chicken Books. This is a readathon inspired by Pokemon. And I said I was going to participate in 2024, but I didn't. I fell behind straight away and never caught up, but I was still part of the Discord and I saw all the work and effort and fun that went into this readathon, so this will be a priority for me in 2025. It's going to be a lot easier to participate. Merv has listened to people's feedback and has changed the readathon to make it available to do it like different levels and different levels of difficulty and different levels of involvement, so you can change throughout the year like how hard you want to make it for yourself. So that is going to make it so much easier for me to participate, so I can change and adapt what I'm doing based on how my reading is going, how my year is going. So that is definitely a priority since I did not participate in 2024. So I don't know how hard I'll go. Probably not really hard. I won't get all of the Pokemon, all of the challenges, but I will do my best to follow along the main monthly Pokemon drops. So that's really exciting to be properly participating in that for the first time. Next up, I want to talk about my shelves. So I feel like I'm stealing this idea from Sash Reads, and she has put it a lot better than I have. But she recently uploaded this amazing video, which I'll put in the cards, of her unhauling, I think it was over 300 books. And she was talking about how she wants to curate her shelves better. I love that word, curate. And I'm definitely stealing this goal because I want to curate my shelves better. Recently, I have been looking at my shelves for something to read and just not finding a lot of inspiration and finding that I don't want to pick up a lot of these books. And a lot of these books were purchased by me a long time ago, and I feel like my reading taste has changed a little bit. And I think now I'm a bit pickier with books that I actually purchase. I don't know if it's because I've literally had less time this year to go out and buy books, like because I work full-time, whereas last year I didn't work full-time. Well, I did at the end of the year, but for majority of the year I didn't. So I had more time to go on big book shopping trips to the city. Now I just have less energy to do that. So I was spending a lot more money on books and just buying for the sake of buying. This year I definitely have spent a lot less money on books. I haven't done the maths, but I know that I've spent a lot less money on books and I feel better for it. But yeah, I feel like I'm more selective with the books that I'm actually buying, that I know I'm genuinely have a good chance of liking the book, and I'm not just buying it because it's popular or because, you know, I see it, I'm like, oh, I should buy that, I saw someone else read it. You know, I'm being more selective with what I'm purchasing. So it means that past me is not being so selective, and there's a lot of crap on here that I just don't want to read. So I really want to get rid of that. I want to read older books on my TBR and get them out of the way if they're no longer my thing. And I've kind of started that this year, and I've just been picking books off my shelf and thinking, why did I purchase this? I had no chance of ever liking this. I don't know when I ever thought I was going to read this. This is not me. It's not my taste. Why did I purchase it? So I want to make reading my old physical TBR a priority, so I can get rid of those old books, get them off my shelf if I don't like them, and make room for books that I do enjoy and do love and will love. So I've kind of been telling myself one book a month from my old physical TBR. I'm not setting that in stone because there'll be reading challenges throughout the year, and I don't, again, want to put myself off the challenge and read just, you know, like a bunch of awful books in a row and put myself into a slump. So it's not a goal with a number, but it's something I want in the forefront of my mind while I'm picking the monthly reads is, let's curate these shelves, just like Sash said. The only other goal I wanted to discuss in this goals video was, I guess, channel content goals. In previous years, I have set goals for how many times, I should say how often I want to upload videos. I've set TikTok video goals, I've set sprint goals, I've set uploading on Instagram goals, and I don't follow any of them. They're not realistic, and I'm just setting myself up for failure, to be honest. So this year I'm not doing that. Fuck that. Like, obviously I still want to upload, but I want to do it on my terms. So my goal is not to put a number on any of my uploading. Like, I don't want to say I want to upload once a week, twice a week, once every 2 weeks. No. I said as long as I'm happy with the amount I'm posting, I'm meeting the goal. So as long as I'm okay with how consistent I'm posting, that's okay. We're not putting any numbers on it because then I just get stressed and feel guilty, and it becomes not fun and not a hobby anymore for me personally. So no content goals, no reading goals, no content goals at all, no numbers, no nothing. As long as I'm uploading at some amount, as long as I post a video, I'm happy. Occasionally, every 2 weeks, who cares? So that's the goal, is to just upload, have fun with it, and not put numbers on it, and I will have a good time. I'm also I haven't fully enrolled, but I have confirmed it in my brain that I am going to do further study next year. So that means I'm going to have even less time for content. So why would I stress myself out when obviously the further study should be a priority and not the YouTube channel? So yeah, so those are my reading goals. A little bit different, I know, but I'm honestly feel like this is the happiest I've ever been with my reading goals, and I think it's because they're the most me. I've made goals that I know will work for me, are realistic for me, and work for my brain. So I think that's why I'm so happy with these, because they are so me, and I'm not just making goals because other people do similar goals. I'm making these goals for myself, and I think it's going to result in a fantastic reading year. So I'm really happy with that. Yeah, those are my 2025 reading goals. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of them? Are they weird? Are they weird to you? Or am I just being self-conscious? Do you set reading goals? Let me know. What are your plans for the year of 2025? Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Give this video a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you'd like to see more of my content. And I will see you in whatever the hell I upload next. Bye!